Ladies and gentlemen, banana.
Banana. Did you forget what episode number we're on?
Forgot to ask, what episode number is this?
This is Muckrakers, episode 97.
Episode number banana.
Episode number banana. We ran out of numbers because there's just so many episodes at this point that we have to go into fruit. Stay tuned for next week's episode, orange.
I like yelling the word banana. It makes me less angry.
It's that actually comes from a Warcraft thing where some guy's trying to create a brew elemental, like a beer elemental, right? And he's just like throwing ingredients into a pot, and he's like, chili peppers. Oh, yes, no, yes, banana. And then he throws a banana in. Yeah. And it does successfully make a boss that tries to kill everyone. So, I mean, he was successful. Except I don't think he was trying to kill everyone.
Well, that's kind of what the Chicago school system is doing right now.
Just throwing bananas into a pot to see what happens?
Yeah. So, and this is, I swear to God, this is one of those, like, baby boomers are creaming their pants over this. Because it sounds like such a baby boomer thing to think is a good idea. And
we forgot to introduce ourselves.
Oh, yeah, I'm Pete.
And I'm Pat.
I was waiting for you to be like, and I'm Banana.
And I'm Banana.
Yeah, so if this is your first episode, welcome. We scream about news stories and politics and our good friend Wesley. And I think that's a pretty good summation of what's going on. So, in windy Chicago, right?
Yes.
A controversial new requirement starting in 2020. Students hoping to graduate from high school in Chicago must provide evidence they either have an acceptance letter from college, a gap year program, a trade apprenticeship, military enlistment, or a job offer. So even if they've satisfied all the requirements, you've done all your classes and everything to get your diploma, they won't give you a diploma unless you have some kind of like, I'm going to do this next.
That's bullshit.
Absolutely.
For one thing, what fucking business is it of the government or any government system to know what I'm going to do with my life? They can fuck right off with that.
Right. Oh my God. You know what I said when I saw this?
No, what?
I was alone and someone screenshot it and sent it to me on my phone, and I just went, this is America, Jack. You can't make me do shit. Like, yeah, I can. It is America. I can be fucking homeless if I want to.
Yeah.
Like, that is my fucking right as a goddamn American.
Like,
fuck you, Chicago.
Like, I earned that fucking diploma, so, give it to me, and then I'll go straight to the streets where I will suck mini dicks for cocaine, because that's my God-given right.
Right? And you know what I mean? Legalize sex work. It's not a crime.
Yeah. I mean...
How come it's legal for you to go out and suck dick if they don't give you cocaine? You know what I mean? That's legal. But as soon as they want to hand you cocaine, oh no, now it's a crime.
Well, I mean, it becomes legal again if you film it, because then you're just making a porn. But you're still being paid for sex, but I guess just the two people can't pay each other? Like, they have to be paid for it by a third party? How does that work? Why can't all prostitutes just, like, have a camera? That way they can say we're making porn, and then everything they do is legal. They're they're taking amateur actors off the street is how they can phrase
it. Remember that prostitution is only illegal if you're poor. You think that all these like rich ass politicians aren't going out and paying for some strange and then like
I mean we know that Trump did it. Like the whole thing with Stormy Daniels is very well known and he paid her a lot of money to
There's no legal
legal
repercussions for them. But yeah,
no one's even discussed it for a second because they knew that there's no possible way you could make someone in power pay for their crimes.
You know what's great about this, though? Instead of doing some kind of educational reform where they go, we're going to add a class to everybody their senior year, which is like an internship class where we give them job connections and this, that, and the other. Nope, you're just going to require them to, they say, we're requiring them to have a plan. My plan would be to give you both middle fingers and fucking punch the principal and the mayor in their respective dicks.
Yeah, my plan for being a senior was that we got senior day somewhat near the end of the semester where we all get to go out and just do like a barbecue. And that was one of the fondest days of my life because I didn't have to go to school that day. Well, I did, but then I immediately left it and we just like cooked and it was fun. And Wesley was there.
Baby boomer dystopian bullshit.
The senior party?
No, because if it was a baby boomer senior party, they'd have us all working in the salt mines, for experience. Not for money, mind you.
Oh, right. For the exposure to the acidic chemicals.
Yeah. Fuck this shit. What a dumb fucking, so you're like a poor kid with, no help, and you managed to make it through high school, and now you don't get your fucking diploma because Oh my God, like banana, 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 banana.
How many other places are doing this? Is this the first? Has this
Yes,
ever been done
nobody.
before?
Nobody, because you cannot force me to get a job or join the military or anything. Like, that's in the fucking Constitution. That's involuntary servitude.
Yep. I mean, I don't know. Now I just want to make a joke about involuntary manslaughter, but too much effort.
Your Honor, I did not want to kill him. It was required as part of my high school diploma.
That would work. As part of my high school diploma, I had to turn the principal and vice principal and that one person at the front desk that always gives me the stink eye into a human centipede. You have to understand, this is the only way to meet the requirement.
How much more do we want to punish poor children? Because that's all it's going to hurt. If you've got, like, rich or well-to-do connected parents, you don't have a problem. This is easy for you. But, like,
yeah,
if you're
you
a
can
poor
just
kid with...
be like, why can't you find a job? My father gave me a position at his car dealership. Why can't you just ask your father to enlist you in his, oh, what does he do again? Sit on the couch. Enlist you in his couch.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just trying to do a douchebag voice. But yeah,
Jesus Christ. Well, I mean, that's like they're cutting, what do you call it? Food assistance stuff for people now. They're cutting food and welfare and like making like stricter work requirements. Yeah,
they're cutting SNAP so that 800,000 children can go hungry next year.
Because
why? Because they're assholes. It really is just like a poor tax that's going on. What they're doing is they're going to require parents to provide like proof of employment if they want their kids to get SNAP. But SNAP is for people whose parents are underemployed, like if their boss gives them fewer than 20 hours a week.
Or if you lose your job. You know what I mean?
If they give you 19 and a half hours a week, that means your kids have to go hungry now. So it's like, what the fuck is that shit? They're the ones that actually need this. Well, who is SNAP for? Like people whose parents are like, the working poor, working 80 hours, but still can't afford to feed anyone, which, that is still a thing. People can still work all the goddamn time, every waking second of their life, and still can't afford to feed their children, especially if they have more than one. And you can say, well, they shouldn't have spat out children if they... Well, some people can't fucking control that. Maybe they were much better off, but then, their significant other died. Now they don't have money.
It's not the child's fault. You know
that
what I mean?
too.
Like
you're starving someone who has nothing to do with this.
None of us chose to be here, much like our podcast listeners. No one chose this life. It was forced upon them.
From now on, people that want to listen to this podcast must show Wesley their proof of employment. How else are they going to buy the gold bars to send to Wesley to pay for our episodes?
This whole podcast is just going to be motherfuckers. Like,
motherfucking banana! They're turning the freaking bananas gay!
Oh, it just makes me so angry. Here's another one that makes me angry. So this is going to be wonderful. This actually comes from your neck of the woods, Pat. South Georgia. A truck driver who dumped thousands of gallons of fuel, like in South Georgia, has been sentenced to serve 1.5 years in federal prison.
Why did he dump
this guy, huh?
Why did he dump it?
Oh, I'm about to tell you. So he dumped it's the dumbest thing. He dumped 3,000 gallons of diesel fuel into land that drains into a creek. A school had to be evacuated, and like the EPA had to like clean it up, right?
Georgia man! Sounds like another exciting day in the life of Georgia man.
And that creek flows into a river, which is just terrible. Now, the reason he did this, right? Oh my God, like, I would have respected literally anything else. Like, I wanted to get back at school-age children. You know what I mean? I hate the environment.
Man, fuck free grass and water.
You know what I mean? I hate that
mineral
river.
Deposits. Ooh, hell no. Not on my watch.
That river killed my dad. You know what I mean? Something like that.
Yeah.
You know why he dumped the fuel?
I can't imagine.
He realized he loaded the wrong product into his tanker truck.
Oh, so he was just like, well, gotta get rid of it. And that was it?
Also, that seems like, that's like, why wouldn't you just like, be like, we gotta pump this back, this is the wrong shit. Like, why would you be like, well, I guess I'll just dump this 3,000 gallons of fuel into the ground.
Well, so what else happening to him again? It was justice, right? You said justice?
He gets 1 year in prison. I think he should have 1 year of having to drink water from the creek he dumped diesel fuel in.
Yeah. He should have to eat fish from that pond and dirt from that pond when all the fish are dead.
He should have to stand in front of that school every day with a sign saying what he did and just ringing a bell going, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Shame! Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, shame. Shame.
Shame!
What an asshole.
Ding, 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 ding. Yep.
Yeah, what a so, we try to bring you the environmental news every day, and that's what's happening. That's why the planet is dying, because some dude just and this is this is happening all over the world, just they're not all getting caught.
Yeah, I mean, this is just the Georgia man that did get caught. Which, speaking of, I'd like for this to be a reoccurring segment. Georgia man.
Georgia man?
Like, we have Florida man already, so why can't there be a Georgia man? Georgia's full of just as many assholes.
Georgia man dumps 1,000 gallons of fuel because he fucking was like, oops, wrong hose.
I know it doesn't quite have the punch of a Florida man story. Man loses foot trying to get other foot back from alligator that stole it from him after robbing convenience store with squirrel, right? Like a really good, solid Florida man story. But, we're getting there. We're looking for him.
We're working on it. So I got an update on a story for you. I don't remember what episode we did this on, but this woman, Jasmine Headley, was at the Human Resources office in New York about her benefits. She had her 1-year-old son with her, and she was there in line for like 4 hours trying to figure out her benefits, right?
Right.
So, holding a 1-year-old, so she sat down, like while waiting in line, she just kind of sat down and waited. And some security guy came over and started giving her the business about she can't sit down here. And she's like, what? And then, like, the cops showed up and ripped her 1-year-old child from her arms while she's screaming, stop, you're hurting my child. And then they're, like, choking her and arresting her. Sent her to Rikers Island prison for, like, 3 days. Took away her fucking benefits. And then charged her with, like, disorderly conduct and resisting arrest and all this shit, right? All because she was sitting on the floor near the baby's stroller because she was waiting 3 hours to see a caseworker. Well,
did the caseworker apologize?
Well,
the good news, so long after all this?
Well, the good news is she got a settlement of $625,000. Her record cleaned and her benefits back. The only thing that I don't like is that it had to come from taxpayer money. I think it should have had to come from the cops. I think you should fucking just cash their pensions out.
Yeah, I think so too. Like, let the punishment fit the crime. Don't charge the people. The police are the one that did this.
Yeah, and I'm sure those cops still have jobs, but like, my God, man, like, what is wrong with you if you're ripping the child out of someone's arms for sitting down?
Is this a police cop robot story, or?
I think it could be. He's like, sitting is illegal. Stop resisting. Give child.
Sitting, give child, planting drugs on child, framing child, exterminate.
Putting gun in child's hand, pulling trigger, child now suspect, putting child in Rikers Island prison. Because I think that, like, police cop robots thing should be like escalating situation that does not need to be escalated.
Child is leaking, put in solitary confinement. That's not
accidentally
compute.
Execute child, put on death row for 20 years. Losing child's paperwork, problem solved. Police cop robot back on beat. Yeah, that's definitely a fucking police cop robot, sir. Because that's exactly what police cop robot would do. Like, you got a person sitting down, and then, like, they would just immediately turn it into, like, a bloodbath.
Yeah. Lady sitting down should not be sitting down, should be standing while waiting.
Engaging rotary blades, maximum destruction.
No survivors.
Must kill everyone in office. Can be no witnesses.
No witnesses. Exterminate entire block. Bypassers are not safe.
Was that lady looking at me? She knows too much. It just escalates. Fucking
police cop robot comes home to his caring wife and children at the end of a long, hard day, and his wife's like, "Oh, honey, how was your day? You ask too many questions. Exterminate!"
It's just eventually going to end with police cop robot like downloading nuclear codes, setting off bomb, blame terrorism. Like he just nukes an entire fucking city block, like just to be like, must have been the Muslims.
Yep. Framing Muslims.
Yeah. Oh man, so that it's a good news story, but it's also horrible that she had to go through that, and also I think she should get more than $625,000.
Yeah, I think she should get $675,000. I don't know. Yeah, like that is less than $1 million, which was something that I noticed as soon as you said it. Like, could we not do $2 million, $3 million? How about 15? I don't know. Like,
But
so,
I mean,
something so that she doesn't have to go through that bullshit again.
for her, hopefully, maybe that'll help her with her life and put her kid through college and set her up and stuff. But it's just ridiculous that like that even happened, and then like they were like, we got one, we're gonna take to Rikers, and then everybody above them was like, sounds good, and then put her, and they're like, what are you here for? And she's like, sitting with my baby, and they're like, oh, we better put her in solitaire. She's a fucking animal.
Yeah, like I was wondering, like, how did the police not listen? Do they not like ask her what's going on? Do they not assess the situation? Does no one above them double check to make sure that what happened was not insane? Where did the police come from? Like, who called them there? Do they just hang out and look for people to harass?
If I was a cop and I got called and someone's like, yeah, we got to sit down in progress, I'd be like, if I have to show up for that, I'm going to shoot the person that called me.
Did no one, like whoever called the police on her, did they not think to go out there and ask her why she was sitting? Did they not notice she had a child? Like they noticed this in
I'm a radical leftist, right? I got this crazy idea. You ready for this? The boomers are gonna hate it.
What's that?
Just go get her a chair out of the back.
There's that too.
Just go get her a fucking rolly chair.
There's a rule that they use, I'm pretty sure in Walking Dead. I could be thinking of a different zombie story. Anyway, the rule is if people are traveling with children, they're probably not that bad because they're willing to put themselves at great risk in order to keep another human being alive, right? Those children are liabilities in the zombie apocalypse. You want to ditch that shit and run. If, you have no moral compass whatsoever and your only concern is survival, you're ditching the children. So if people are traveling with children, they're probably not that bad a person. Ergo, if this lady's sitting on the floor with a baby, she's probably not that bad a person. Get her a chair.
Basically,
don't call the cops on her and get them to.
You're saying they have better moral reasoning in the zombie apocalypse than we do in fucking New York City. Yeah, that's about accurate.
Yeah, that is the long and short of it.
So this is actually a really cool thing that happened, and I love this. So the new Kentucky governor, right? That was a huge upset. The Democratic, you have a Democratic governor in Kentucky. His first thing he did was restored voting rights to 100,000 formerly incarcerated people.
I thought it was more than that.
Well, that's the numbers I'm looking at right now. But basically, 3 days into office, basic, because there's these dumb places where like in Florida and other places, like if you're arrested, when you get out of jail, you don't get your voting rights back. You pay like a shit ton of money.
Yeah, I first heard about that on The Simpsons when they're talking about who voted for who, and Homer's like, and I'm a non-voting felon. So
basically, if you complete your probation or parole, you automatically get your voting rights restored, and that doesn't include fines and stuff. So it's not like other places where they go, when you pay your fines, you can have your voting rights. Just basically as long as you have paid your debt to society, finished parole, out of jail. And there's a couple crimes that are excluded, which I actually agree with. Treason, election bribery, violent crime, rape, sexual abuse, homicide, fetal homicide, and like first and second degree assault. All right, I don't know if I agree with the assault, but I guess that makes sense. But all the other crimes, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. Fucking, Now, the weird thing is the outgoing Republican governor, Matt Bevin, just pardoned a whole bunch of crazy violent people on his way out the door.
Why?
No one knows! Some of them had put money into his fucking thing, but like he gave 428 pardons on his way out the door. One of them is a guy convicted of reckless homicide. One of the guys is a convicted child rapist, a man who murdered his parents, and a woman who threw her newborn in the trash after giving birth in a flea market outhouse.
Holy shit. So did he do this just to try and make the state as bad as possible, just to fuck over the next guy?
That's all I can think of. He's like, fuck you, on his way out. He goes, everyone gets a pardon.
Holy shit.
Right?
I mean, well, what do you think, like, all those baby killers thought when they were suddenly told, yep, nope, you can go free now. We need to make room for this one woman who is sitting.
They're probably like, man, you know what? I'm going to fuck so many kids.
Yep. I mean, why wouldn't they? Because their crime last time wasn't punished. So
yeah, that's
like Roy Moore.
So that's insane. So and like right now, like prosecutors and like judges and everybody are like, we're gonna review these pardons because that's cuckoo bananas.
Can they do that? Can they block these people from being released? I thought pardons were just like free to go.
I think there might be a legal process by which they can be like they can take it to court and then maybe the court can decide. You know what I mean?
So he's just fucking over the late night lawyers that want to do the right thing. He's fucking over
over-
good people here. Because bad people would be like, nope, fuck it, let him go.
Yeah, that's insane. So yeah, enjoy your Republican governors. The party now of child rapists. I'm just gonna start calling them that.
I mean, they've been being that since they all endorsed Roy Moore. So, you know,
Yeah.
here you go.
So yeah, that happened. So I like to make my good news. I like to sour it with some real bad news. You know.
Yep. All right, so what's the real bad news?
So dear Wesley, am I an asshole for telling my father we'll catch the next one when he invited me to his wedding?
Wait, hold on. I told my father we'll catch the next one?
Yeah, when he invited me to his wedding.
Okay.
So dear
Maybe?
Wesley, am I an asshole?
All right,
So-
let's hear the rest of the story.
So he's been married 4 times now, and this wedding will be his 5th in the span of 30 years. I don't know how
Have-
he's had such. Go ahead.
Are all of his other wives like, did he become widowed under mysterious circumstances and inherit a great fortune?
No, it just gets weirder. He's not a
Serial
black
killer?
widow.
Okay.
I don't know how he gets a high turnover rate, but I'm guessing it's to do with him being both rich and a raging narcissist.
Oh, he's a Trump.
So he invited me to get coffee and introduced me to his new fiance. I knew he was going to do this because of my 2 brothers. There are like 7 of us total, and none of us have the same mother. Said they had just gotten coffee with dad and met the fiance and had been invited to the wedding. They all got +1s for their girlfriends, of 8 and 10 months. So basically, they're getting invited to the wedding. You know, everyone gets a +1, like, bring a date or whatever, right?
Right.
My dad told me to bring my partner when I came for coffee, and I brought my trans boyfriend along. We've been together for 3 years. The fiance seemed nice, wanting to know about me and my boyfriend and asking questions that sound like she actually gave a shit. Dad gets all the details
Okay.
of the engagement. Go ahead.
No, I just said okay.
Dad gets all the details of the engagement and the wedding out of the way, and then asks me, and only me, if I'll be there.
Okay. He probably just likes her more than he likes her boyfriend.
Well,
That's not uncommon.
I noticed he was talking to me, not my boyfriend, so I said, we will check if we're free. And Dad replies, oh, this is family only. And I said, oh, I just
He
assumed seeing
is
as how
family.
I see how the other siblings got +1s, and Dad says, that's different. Are you coming or not? And I
No.
said, we'll catch the next one.
Gotcha. Now that I have the full context, no, she's not an asshole for saying that. That is really funny. I think that's the perfect line she could have said right there. That's
Well, Dad's-
very quick-witted. Is that really what she said, or is that what she thought of like way later
Nope.
on?
Well,
She
they
said
fucking
something
said,
more
well-
awkward at the time.
Well, Dad's fiance got visibly upset, and they left. Dad texts me afterward and asks if I can be civil on the one day, and then can I still come alone?
Oh, can he
Fuck
be
you.
civil?
Dude, also, listen. Your first wedding is an important, I think, sacred event to a lot of people, right?
Right.
Your
But your
fucking,
fifth?
what is your 5th wedding? Ah, fuck, who gives a fuck? I don't even want to be there. You know what I mean? Especially if you're going to make me come without my girlfriend or boyfriend. Yeah, we'll catch the next one, asshole. Like,
Yeah,
fuck
right.
you.
Like, okay, so this he's weddings aren't that pleasant of thing to attend. It's
They really
stuffy. Like you have to wait for a long time with a lot of people that you probably don't know that well, don't like that well. You're basically in a room with strangers, but you're expected to know all the strangers' names. It sucks. It takes forever. You have to
Right.
watch 2 people prattle off vows that probably they don't mean, especially
Yeah.
in the father's
The
case.
the 5th time you're like, oh, why are we even? Why can't we just skip the vows? They're not going to be true.
I mean, why can't they just elope at this point, right? Like, go down to the
Yeah.
courthouse, write the contract, good to go. Why do the whole to do with the wedding? That shit is awful. It's like, look, if someone's having a graduation, I might go to their graduation. If they're having their 18th graduation, I'd be like, nah, dog, I'm good. Like, even if they were like, yeah, bring your boyfriend along, I'd be like, no, like, we have better
Look,
shit to do.
I didn't even go to my second when I got my master's degree. I didn't even go to the ceremony, and I didn't invite anybody because I was like, why would I want everybody to come to this long, stuffy ceremony only to see me? And they don't know anybody else. It takes forever, and it costs money. Why would I do that to me and other people?
Right? Like, be considerate of others. Jesus.
I think on your 5th wedding, here's what you do. You ready for this? I think
Yes.
you have it. I think you have it at Sonic's. You know, the burger joint that you drive up to the
I'm
little window thing.
very familiar with Sonic's. I've actually gotten out there before, and they have like this little box outside where you can
Yeah.
like hit a button and order, and the person
Yeah.
like walks out and brings you your food.
Yes, that's what's great about it. Everyone gets to stay in their fucking car.
You could
The
do that
wedding-
too, but
Yeah, the wedding is broadcast over the speaker, so everyone gets to listen to the wedding, and then all your food is paid for, and you just eat your food in your car, and then you leave.
yeah, the bride's father should pay for everyone's food. I think that's
That's your
tradition,
fifth,
isn't it?
That's your fifth wedding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your fifth wedding is at Sonic's. No one has to get out of their car. I think that's the only acceptable way to have a fifth wedding.
I think the guests get to pull up to the little drive-through things to make their little orders, and
Yeah.
the bride and groom have to get out and go to the table in the center, like out
Right,
next to
so
it.
they
They're the
can-
ones that
so-
speak into the box.
Yeah,
So that way
people
everyone can see them too, kind of. As
Yeah,
they
so
drive
people can
off,
take
they
pictures.
can honk.
Yeah, people can take pictures from their cars, but everyone else is just pulled up to those little. If you don't know what Sonic's is, and I don't know who doesn't, basically you just drive up and there's a whole bunch of little menus with little drive-through speakers, and then waitresses magically skate out on skates with food, and they hang a tray on your window, and it's got food on it, and you don't have to leave your fucking car, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, at your fifth wedding, I'm getting the chili cheese dog. Like I'm
Fair
already
enough.
planning for that now.
Fair enough. You know what? On my fifth wedding, yeah, we'll do a Sonic's wedding. It'll be great. But yeah, other than that, fucking suck a dick. Like your fucking trans boyfriend of 3 years isn't invited to my wedding. Yeah, well, no one wanted to go anyway. You got 7 other kids. Enjoy them.
Yeah, Jesus.
Oh,
Can you be
God.
civil on the? I don't know. Can you be civil? Does not seem like it. So pot calling the kettle an asshole.
Literally, if anybody has been dating for 3 years, you have to recognize that as a valid relationship. I'm sorry. Even if, like, this guy's like, so I brought my lamp, who I got married to in one of those Netherlands-style countries because they have really loose wedding laws. So I married this desk lamp, 3 years ago, and I asked my father if I could bring it to the wedding. If you've been with that desk lamp for 3 years and you've been faithful, desk lamp gets to come to the wedding.
Yep. There will be
It's
an RSVP for desk lamp.
Yeah,
And
you know what I mean?
and at Sonic's, it may have to like avoid any liquid beverages, but I'm pretty sure there's
Right.
some solid foods that won't short them out.
Yeah, you can get something for desk lamp. But yeah, so what would
the
Wesley's
chicken.
reaction be?
Wesley's, oh my God. Oh, let me tell you what my reaction would be. Oh, they have these delicious little chicken strips at Sonic's, and I'd order those, and I gotta get the slushy. Because they have really delicious lemonade slushies there. Oh, I'll get the strawberry lemonade. Oh, this is so good. This is the best wedding ever. Well, what was the question again?
Wesley just goes off on the Sonic's menu. Oh man, do we got time for a second, dear Wesley?
I believe we do. We're only at the
All right.
halfway mark.
Fantastic, good. I just worry because I also want to get to impeachment stuff. So, dear Wesley, my wife and I recently hosted some longtime friends for a few days while we were on vacation. We had a fine time reconnecting. After after they left, they seemed to have slowed down a bit, my wife said, to which I responded, yeah, us too, I guess, right? Couples getting older. Well, we just received an email from their adult daughter, whom we're also friendly with, asking about our perceptions of her parents' well-being. We are not comfortable responding to her very pointed questions about their eating habits, bedtimes, takings of medications, mental sharpness while they stayed with us. Is this kind of inquiry common today, or do these folks have, quote,
Hold on.
helicopter kids?
Hold on. Take a step back. Who's staying? What? Why were they asked about people's medication?
Sorry, couple A stayed with couple B. When couple A left, couple B goes, they seem to have slowed down a little bit. And couple B's wife was like, yeah, us too, though. But then couple A's daughter's like, I have some questions about my parents. Their eating habits, their sleeping habits.
That's
Are they taking their medications? Do they seem mentally aware to you?
how old is that couple?
I assume old enough. You know what I mean? Like, they're old enough to have, like, grown kids and shit.
In that case, I would say even if these are helicopter kids, maybe you should answer their questions. They might know that there's a reason for these questions to be answered, right? Like maybe their parents are on like a shitload of very important medications, but they tend to forget them.
Well,
Their
it's-
diet might be really specific because they need it to survive.
Well, it's also really hard to deal with older parents in decline.
Yes.
And what was I watching where like somebody was talking about it and they said there was some kind of question about should I take my put my parents in a home or take their keys away, and the answer to the other person was like, when they're ready, you'll know, but they won't let you know. You'll have to make that decision. And yeah, you don't feel comfortable, but like fucking maybe answer their questions, but then also go, maybe you should also try to talk to them. I don't want to, invade their privacy, but it's important if they're going through mental decline and they're
I
just,
had a
this person's really worried about them. That's why they're asking you and not them because they don't want to upset them.
I had a great uncle who was 98 years old that just died this year in a car accident.
Oh, yeah.
Even though his physical health had been in decline for a long time, his mental health was always sharp as a tack. It never went down a notch. And he continued to farm his land. He continued to drive to the store to get groceries right up until he was 98 years old and was hit by a truck whenever he basically just ran well, he didn't run a stop sign. He stopped at it. Someone's coming, then he pulled out and got plowed into by like a cement mixer truck, right?
Yeah, literally the worst car like that. There's not many things except maybe getting run over by a steamroller cartoon style that could be more deadly in a car wreck.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what killed him. And for a while, his son, who's also like in his late 70s, had been trying to get him to stop going to the store. But, his dad was always like, they have candy there and I'm going to go get that candy that I like because you won't buy it for me. And he's like, well, your doctor says for you not to eat that candy. And he's like, well, then I got to drive myself to the store, don't I? At his funeral, his son stood up before everyone saying, now, I know a lot of you were probably thinking, why didn't we take his keys away from him? And his son reaches down and takes his dad's keys out of his pocket and holds them up for everyone in the church to see, right? And he says, my dad was a World War II drill sergeant. You try to take his keys away from him.
Just kicks your ass and breaks your arm and then still drives away to get candy. It's just tough, man. You know what I mean? Like,
sometimes it's hard to manage your parents.
He died doing what he loved, going to get candy.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, too. He is almost 100, and he probably would have made it. But the point I'm getting to is that I do trust a kid's evaluation of their parents' health more than I trust a parent's evaluation of their own kids. I don't know why this is, but whenever parents start talking about what all their kid needs, I'm like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. When it comes to like a kid that's like a late teenager or something, right? It's like, oh, Jane doesn't need to be doing all that stuff, the dancing and the music. Like that I don't tend to listen to. But if it's a kid saying, yeah, so is mom taking all of her pills, even the red one, because it tastes like grape and she doesn't like grape, so you need to make sure she eats it or her heart explodes. I tend to listen to that more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think this person's like, are they helicopter kids? No, bitch. They're just trying to make sure that their parents are okay without upsetting their parents. Mm-hmm. Be a fucking friend, you know what I mean? And just, tell her you don't feel uncomfortable, but I feel like Wesley's response to this would just be something about like bees again.
Wesley's response would be, well, my parents sometimes give me problems, and that's when I just tell them to respect my authority and go get me a tuna fish and cheese with my menthol cigarettes. And then they do it, or else I get fussy again. Oh.
I've got this rubber hose in the trunk, and anytime my dad gives me lip, I bring out the rubber hose and I beat him with it.
I put him down in the pit, and he knows to put the lotion in the basket, or else he gets the hose again.
At least Wesley's parents have the kind of decline where his dad just like basically is part of the couch now.
Yeah.
For the rest of his life. But yeah, it's tough, but yeah, like fucking, I don't know, man. Like, here's the crazy thing about people with like Alzheimer's and cognitive decline.
Yeah.
They don't know they have it.
Yeah, I mean, it's in rare cases, in certain types of dementia, they can be aware of it because you tell them. But depending on what they have, I mean, sometimes they just drift away. Like my
because they're like Abe Simpson. They're like, the year was 1906, and the Kaiser had stolen our word for zero. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
don't do that. If you startle them.
They're still living in fucking like the 1920s. They're like, oh, let's go out and see some big bands play. And you're like, all those people are dead, Grandma and Grandpa.
Oh, well, I have a quarter. Why don't we go to the movies? We can get popcorn and see the big screen, and then the lady will drive out and give us the popcorn. What? But yeah. So yeah. My grandmother on my dad's side, she suffered dementia for years, and we knew that it was coming for a long, long time.
Well, even before that, didn't she threaten to throw your Nintendo down a well for asking questions about the Bible?
Yeah, I mean, she was still an unpleasant person whenever she had her mind. But
I'm just asking how much mind did she have at that point? Because that's a weird fucking thing to do.
I mean, she just comes from another time. Like back then, you'd throw kids' toys away if they upset you. I guess
Well,
I don't know. That was always my
bothered,
assumption.
I'm bothered by the throwing away of the toy, and I'm equally as bothered by throwing it down the well, because now you're fouling the drinking water, lady.
There's that too. Oh my God, she's just as bad as the chemical person or the blood pipes.
Yeah. Did she? You better behave, or I'm going to take you down and throw you in the blood pipe.
Yep. But I mean, like as she started to go, she would do things like she would use the pilot light in her gas stove to light something on fire and then walk it through her house, which was largely made out of lighter knot, which is super flammable, to bring it outside to burn a big pile of trash that she had gathered. And we don't know if it was all her trash. It would just be trash she had gathered. She had amassed in a big pile to then set on fire.
You know what's great is that seems to be, I guess, is pyromania part of like dementia? Because my great grandmother,
it's just a chore she has.
Well, on the old Griffin estate, we used to have a tobacco barn and a smokehouse and stuff, right?
Right.
All that stuff's gone now. And one day I asked Grandpa, I was like, why are all these old, like, foundations of buildings out here? And he was like, well, your great-grandma was burning trash in the front yard, and then she went inside to watch Oprah and fell asleep. And it burned down half our property.
We used to have a tobacco barn because they did used to grow tobacco, and Grandma made her kids like go out there and dry it, and I don't remember what all they have to do. I was explained like what all they did back then, but whenever you're telling a kid this stuff, the kid's not listening. Nowadays, as an adult, I would probably pay more attention to it.
No one cares about your old-timey agriculture, Grandma.
Yeah, kind of that. But yeah, so they used to have the tobacco barn and the chicken house and all this other stuff, but like a tornado wiped out most of that a while back. So well, that's why we have
At least your grandma didn't start the tornado. My great-grandma started the fucking fire.
We didn't start the fire. It was always burning since your grandma's been churning out the fire.
Also, I guess it was also a thing where people did, there's no trash pickup, so it's like, yeah, just burn your garbage. No matter what's in it, send the pollution into the air. That's a thing we do.
Yeah, and yet the world was still less polluted back then before big businesses did basically the same thing, just burning all their trash.
Just on a bigger scale.
Yeah, on an astronomically bigger scale.
And now they're burning down the Amazon.
Then the other stuff she would do would be like, my mom came by to check on her one day, and she's like, oh, I had the best Kool-Aid today. And my mom was like, you don't have any Kool-Aid. And then she realized the hummingbird feed was in the fridge. And stuff like that.
Jesus Christ, she's drinking the hummingbird feeder.
I went by to check on her one time, and she like stuck her head out the door, and I'm like, hey, Grandma, and she's like, who are you? And she quickly stuck back inside and locked the door. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll leave then.
Just came to get my Nintendo out of the well.
Yeah. So lots of stuff like that before, and by the time she went to the home, she was so far gone. Like, she was told that she was just there for a little while, which she repeated that for like a year, and then she stopped repeating it because she just wasn't aware of where she was. Like she became a young kid again who was trying to figure out where her parents was, where her siblings were, which had all passed by this point. So,
Jesus Christ. So this is why I want to pitch my new company if I can get investors for it. It's like Life Alert, except if you feel your mind starting to slip, you press a button and people come to your house and they take you to a predetermined place of your choosing so you could die with your boots on like a man. Yeah, instead of in a home in your own poop.
Yeah. Put me out in the wilderness. I'll walk the Appalachian Trail as far as I can make it, which won't be very far before I'm all like, oh yeah, the fucking mosquitoes, god damn it. And then I'll just die by a lake somewhere.
We take you to the wilderness, or we take you to maybe a high crime neighborhood where we put dollar bills hanging out of your pocket, but we also give you like a gun with like 2 bullets. You know what I mean? Just something so you can just like die with some kind of honor. I don't know. Maybe we just enroll you in the army and then just parachute you into the most dangerous place. I don't know. Whatever. We'll have different packages, but God, that sounds better than just dying in my own shit while I'm like, am I a child dreaming he's an old man, or an old man sitting in his own poop dreaming he's a child? Just cognitive decline seems like the worst way to go. It's the only thing I could think of that would be worse than cancer.
Yeah, like that's... I mean, the book Flowers for Algernon always terrified me because I kept thinking of, I've spent my whole life like building up, as Donald Trump would put it, a brain. And just the thought of it all slipping away from me is really used to be terrifying to me. Nowadays, not so much, because nowadays I'm just like, fuck it, I'm wasting it anyway.
I
But
imagine
back
it
in
would
the
be a
day,
lot.
that was scary.
I imagine it'd be a lot like a time I can't remember, I had the flu or something, so I was having like fever dreams. But like a couple of friends were over in my room, and I was just laying in bed, in and out of consciousness, and they were playing that Futurama episode where they keep like flashing back and forth to different time periods,
Yeah.
like the future keeps changing and stuff, which made my fever
It's
dreams
the
even worse.
future!
Yeah, it made my fever dreams even worse, and it was just like a weird, like I could barely stay conscious, and then I'm in like some weird fever dream, and then I'm like back, and I'm like, what's real and what's not. That's what I imagine cognitive decline is like, and that terrifies me.
I heard about this one cancer patient who, as he was in his last week of life, something had like ruptured inside of him, so his body was no longer detoxifying. So all the
Right.
toxins were just polluting his brain and twisting what was real and what was wrong. And his wife, a long time after his passing, was willing to talk about what it was like with him in his final week. And she said that he could no longer distinguish between his dreams and reality. So she handed him something. I don't remember what it was anymore. She said she was thinking of the movie Inception when she did this, and she handed him something that could be like a totem. And she's like, "Whenever you see this, you'll know, that this is real right now, and so that way you'll know the difference between real and whenever you're slipping away." And she said that several times she saw him like reach over and pick it up just to sort of confirm that he was awake. So
Oh, that's
I don't know.
that's
That's just
de- depressingly sweet.
that that's a combination of cancer and mental faculties shutting down. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Speaking of,
it was one of the most terrifying stories I ever followed, because I followed it like the entire process of this guy living with cancer. But anyway, you're
so
moving
speak,
on to something less horrific.
yeah, speaking of cognitive decline, the House has voted to impeach, and now it goes to the Senate.
Donald
Um,
Trump is officially impeached. Womp
yep.
womp.
And so
So
he's gone crazy, just tweeting like just blowing up Twitter right now. Like the more he tweets, the crazier he's getting. Super
yeah,
crazy right now. I'm just
and
going through all his
the
tweets and
thing,
just retweeting anybody that says anything nice about him.
yeah. So someone pointed out that if or the amount of time it would have taken him, how should I put this? Based on the number of tweets he's putting out, he's spending at least like 5 to 8 hours a day total on Twitter. So basically, the president's not doing any presidential stuff. He's just tweeting and losing his shit and calling into Fox and Friends and having long, weird, rambly rants where the Fox and Friends become clearly uncomfortable and will eventually just cut off the president to move on to their next show. Like, this is the weirdest presidency we've ever had. Like, by far. Nothing else is even close. And yet
Well,
this
he's
dementia patient, because he probably does likely have dementia. We were just talking about it, right? Well,
yeah.
Trump's father died from dementia, and dementia is a hereditary thing, and Trump is at the right age that he would be coming down with dementia right now. So him having it is extremely likely. Plus, he's never done anything in his life to have good mental health, and he is displaying many, many signs, and was even back in the 2016 campaign displaying many signs of having dementia. And I remember after he first became president, he kept wandering away from like bill signings and stuff, and they'd have to go catch him and run him back so that he had signed pages. Like,
Well, he's
this
even
is
getting to the
not
point where he's attacking Fox News now. There's a tweet here where he says Fox News polls always inaccurate and are heavily weighted towards the Democrats.
what
You're
Fox.
mad at you're mad at state TV.
Yeah, state TV is a propaganda branch of the Republicans. Like, that is definitely, if he has a poll that showed people turning against Trump, then that is 100% the signs that that was probably the best poll they could find. Other polls, like real polls, would be like much, much worse for him.
Yeah.
But
Um,
what poll is he referring to specifically, I
he
wonder?
just says Fox News polls, like
Okay,
at Fox News
so
polls. So it's whatever poll they
damn.
use.
So we don't know. I mean, I don't expect Trump to actually cite his sources or speak coherently because, again, dementia patient. But yeah, I don't know. I'm curious about further context in that, but screw it. I mean, it's not probably not worth going down that rabbit hole.
No, and so all right, so here's the big thing as it goes, and here's what I hated about the impeachment. It was the House voted completely down party lines. I think all the Republicans voted against it. I think maybe one defected, and all the Democrats voted for it. I listened to some of it, and it was super annoying because like it was just a bunch of. It was a restatement of the facts by the Democrats, and the Republicans would continually try to amend it to get rid of the articles of impeachment.
Yeah.
And it went on forever till they finally cut it off. So they were just trying to stall and delay. And it was so annoying because all of their fucking like grandstanding and like all of their time was used to be like, yes, I'd like to amend the articles of impeachment. And they're like, please read your amendment. The amendment should state that Donald J. Trump has a huge whopping penis and is the coolest dude and would never do anything that was uncool. He is America. And they're like, okay, let's vote on the amendment. The vote is taken. Amendment denied. And it was just that over and over and over again. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, have a spine.
I mean, that's why the Republicans weren't sending their A team. They were sending people you've never heard of before because people are seeing this not turning out super well in the long run. That's why, the superstar GOP members are staying the fuck away from this, and they're letting guys who bring their grocery bags full of papers do all the talking right now, which is literally something that happens. Someone,
I like that. Fetch me my grocery bag full of papers. I want to burn some trash in the front yard.
right?
Bring me my small stick that I may set it alight in the White House stove.
and walk it through the lighter not maze.
Yeah. It was exhausting. I listened to little bits of it, and the Republicans were like, this was unfair. We were not given due process. I'm like, because your whole thing was a giant delay tactic. You were bringing literally nothing legitimate to the table. It was just like 30 people that all had the same but differently worded amendment. Like, I'd like to enter amendment. Is it going to be about Trump's penis again? Maybe. Like, oh, fucking hell. Like, just like constantly just like, this is the most unfair thing that's ever happened to a man. I'm like, presidents have been shot before. I'm just saying that seems way more unfair than this. So it goes to the Senate now. And I'm interested to see where it's going to go. So there's a couple things. I know you got a lot of notes, and my notes are shorter. Let me throw this out. There's a couple interesting things that might happen. The Senate is not quite so will-o'-the-wisp as the House is about losing their seats. They're a little more comfortable. Yeah. So they're a little more insulated. So they have to actually act as jurors in this trial. And if you remember, the Senate is controlled by the Republicans. You've got to add it to the Republican kingmaker. Mitch McConnell just got a Democratic governor in Kentucky. So he knows the tide is changing. They're kind of, I guess, maybe backing off. I don't know. And then the other half are just throwing themselves on the sword in front of Trump. So here's what McConnell and the Republican politicians want to do. They want to have a short trial and just kind of, I guess, get there. We're not going to vote to remove really quickly, right?
Right.
Trump wants a spectacle. And I'm interested to see which way it's going to go. If they're going to be able to do a quick, quiet, like, all in favor of impeachment, all opposed, done, right?
Right.
If they're gonna just like get that, okay, it wasn't removed. Or if Trump's going to be able to like fucking drag it out and grant it. Because he wants to do that thing that all dumb criminals do when they're like, hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call Steve Gutenberg to the witness stand. Also, all the remaining members of the Beatles to the witness stand. Like, they're like, what? No.
He wants to call Joe Biden to the witness stand.
He wants to call Biden. He wants to call the fucking Clintons. He wants to call, like, the fucking Anunnaki prince. You know what I mean? Like, literally just like any crazy conspiracy theory. Bobby Fischer. He wants to call Bobby Fischer to the stand. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm interested to see which way it's going to go.
That's largely what I was going to say. Like, Mitch McConnell has really been... he's just about had enough of Trump. But will he continue to defend Trump? Most likely. Yeah. But here's what happens if he doesn't, okay? If he decides that Trump is no longer a valuable asset to him, and this will be a pure calculated move, like 100%, there will be nothing will go into this other than he's safer impeaching Trump and removing him than not. So what will happen is he will never say that this is going to happen. They're going to hold the votes. Exactly the right number of Republicans to the number will vote to remove him. That is required, and everyone else will vote not to remove him. And it'll only be Republicans in safe states that vote to remove him. Like this guy, Republican A, could hate Trump's gut but be told to vote not to remove him. Republican B could love his balls to death and want to gargle them in his mouth but be told you're voting to remove him because you're in a safe state. And
Right.
Mitch McConnell will tell people how they are going to vote, and then they will vote precisely like that. Trump will be removed. Right before he's removed, Mitch McConnell will be singing his praises. It's the second he's removed, at the 11th hour in 59 minutes, Mitch McConnell will be singing the praises of Mike Pence and talking about how excited he is to be working under the Mike Pence presidency.
Don't you feel, though, that that's a little bit of a fantasy we've entertained here on this podcast for a while, that like in the 11th hour, the bottom of the ninth, you know what I mean, Trump will finally lose his political value and they'll finally turn on him, and like time and time again we've been waiting and waiting and it never happens.
I'm not saying this will happen. I'm just saying if it happens at all, that's precisely how it will happen.
I honestly, I've turned, I've said, and I'm so sick of saying this, I go, oh, maybe he's running out of political capital. I think I'm 100% wrong on that, and I think some of these people are in it till death. I think they're, I don't know if they're in the cult or they're so sycophantic or what, that like they will follow this dude like to the ends of the earth. Like they are lock, stock.
They'll follow power. Like, why does it have to be Trump, though? Why can't they just, like, kick him out and have Pence in? I don't know. But they really just...
some people people are saying that Pence will be worse, but I don't know how.
Jesus, at least Pence would probably not be running the government on a skeleton crew, which Trump is.
Well, the thing about Pence, go ahead.
Hold on, let me pull this up right quick. There's a guy who is going to be he's going to be appointed to the, I'm looking for the position here. Fuck,
well, I'll go and tell you. I think
the
thing about Pence that and I could be wrong about this if we end up with President Pence, is I think he'd be a lame duck president because I don't think he has the charisma and the electability to win in a general election. And he doesn't
not
have that
going to
Donald
win
Trump effect.
He's not going to win in 2020. Definitely not. But that would at least give them something more that they could get behind, and it wouldn't further wreck the political careers of everyone that has to keep singing Trump's praises right up to their own election in 2020, including Mitch McConnell, by the by.
Yeah. But, we're also underestimating it. So say the fucking, McConnell does ride into the Senate on a white horse, at the 11th hour, and in the background they're playing, "We Need a Hero."
So, I found
even
it.
I was going to say, so like, I lost my point. Something about Mitch McConnell ride. Oh, yeah. I lost my train of thought and I remembered it. So even if McConnell rides in on a white horse with like, "We need a hero," and Trump is, impeached and removed, what if he doesn't leave?
He will be forced to, like, once...
I don't know, man. He's got so many people in the Senate and the House that are just like, "I'll die for you, my lord," that, like, if he just says, like, "No, unfair, not gonna leave," like, I mean, would they literally force him to... Do you think there's enough support in the government without tearing the government in half to make him leave?
I mean, once the new president's sworn in, Trump will he'll be citizen Trump and he'll be removed from the building. Like they're not he's not gonna have power once he doesn't have power anymore. Once they swear Pence in, then that's it. Power has transferred. It will not be a peaceful transfer of power for the first time in American history, but like it'll be what it has to be. But
I wanted to add in one more point real quick that I think it was Mike Huckabee was going on Hannity or something and making his case why Trump deserves a third term because of the investigations on him. And I was like, this is how democracy is destroyed, because if you give that man a third term, he will never leave.
Yeah. I mean, for one thing, he's super old, full of dementia and cheeseburgers. He's not going to live that much longer anyway. I doubt he would last his entire second term. So basically, he'd be president for the rest of his life if he's reelected in 2020. But I mean, God does love a dictator, so maybe Trump will just live to be 500 years old. Bigly all the cheeseburgers and chicken nuggets, and my 500th birthday.
Well, they say there's a saying. They say God takes care of fools and drunks. He also takes care of dictators. Like they tend to live on into like their hundreds and just retain grips on power forever. So
Right.
anyway,
So
that's all moot. He'll probably not get removed. It'll be down party lines. They'll probably really quickly make the trial speedy, not removed, and then we'll see what happens in 2020.
yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. But I mean, sometimes Trump just goes over McConnell's head and does what he wants to do anyway. Such as this one guy, Ken Cuccinelli. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce his last name, but I like calling him Cuccinelli because it looks like it's spelled that way. And I'm sure he is a cuck, but I digress. He is about to be, or he will very likely begin to serve as the Department of Homeland, or serve as the head of the Department of Homeland Security, because Trump wants him to be that. He wants him to have that job, and Mitch McConnell does not want him to have that job. Mitch McConnell has spent like 20 years trying to keep this guy down. He hates this guy, like personally, and he has done everything in his power to make sure that Ken Cuccinelli never rises to power of any type. But there's a weird old archaic rule that says, that you can appoint people during certain recesses of the Senate. So Trump is just waiting for that recess to appoint this guy. Now, you can't just make anyone the head of the Department of Homeland Security, because there is a pecking order. There's 5 people in line to be the next acting head of the department, and you have to go through the line of succession. But guess what, Pete?
There's nobody else in line.
All 5 of those positions are vacant. There's no one serving on them right now. So because there's no one in any of those extremely essential to keep America going and safe positions, because no one's acting in any of those jobs, Trump can just appoint whoever he wants during the next recess, including Ken Cuccinelli. Now, if you're wondering who he is, I mean, he's one of the biggest assholes you can possibly imagine. He's what's that one guy's name? Steve Miller? He's Steve Miller on steroids. Imagine Steve Miller if he was even more of a Nazi.
I'm trying to look him
Ken
up because I'm like,
Cuccinelli.
why does Turtle Man Mitch McConnell hate him?
Let's see here. I mean, I have a lot more information on him. Da, 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 da.
Anyway, I mean that doesn't surprise me, but like, yeah, that's the thing. Like all this backdooring and maneuvering around the Senate and the House is fucking crazy dangerous.
It's it comes down to a difference in ideologues that Ken Cuccinelli is a fanatic, whereas McConnell's more of a pragmatist and an opportunist. Cuccinelli is highly ideological, perhaps more so than anyone else, and McConnell's core ideology is power. But in terms of his legislative personal positions, it's actually a very soft center right. But he barely cares about that stuff. Power is what interests McConnell, and because Cuccinelli is so much of a fanatic, that makes him unpredictable, and McConnell hates that in him. So it's just easier for him to keep people like this down and away. So
here's what they said about it. They said Mr. Cuccinelli is an anti-immigrant fringe figure that has no business leading a component that is supposed to administer our nation's legal immigration system. Besides being a right-wing commentator, Cuccinelli is completely unqualified to lead the U.S. CIS and likely wants to decimate the agency Congress charged with handling our immigration and refugee programs. Sounds like, based on this, that the baby cages are about to get a little bit smaller.
yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Womp womp.
So, fucking yeah. So I guess the big takeaway from this is pay. I didn't watch the House proceedings because I knew it was going to happen, and we knew where it was going to split, and it was going to be a party line thing because everyone in the House is worried about re-election.
Yeah.
And the winds of change moved them. But the Senate's going to be the one to watch. That's going to be interesting. There might be some surprises. I don't think there will be. I think he won't be removed. I think it'll be straight down party lines.
I feel like they're going to distract him with a fire truck like they did when they were trying to remove Obamacare. Like give Trump something shiny to go play with and some cameras to stand in front of. And McConnell's going to very quickly and quietly try to just wrap up impeachment. Or he'll either hold a vote on it and Trump won't be removed, or he'll just kick it off until the election, just like they did with Obama's Supreme Court nominee.
I don't think they can push it off till the election. I think that they have.
It's in his best interest to go ahead and end it, though, because dragging it out that long. dragging out that long means that everyone's going to be talking about it come the election. If they can
Right.
wrap it up quickly now, then hopefully they can make the American voter forget about impeachment by the time the election rolls around.
And put it into a, and spin it into a positive, like despite the Democrats' best efforts, no removal. You know what I mean?
And
try to take that
Trump
in.
will call it total vindication, folks. See, this proves I'm innocent. Even though they've just proven that he's guilty. Like, that's what the House did. They said, you are guilty, voted on, passed, there you go. The Senate is now going to decide if, what his punishment is, basically.
Remember, though, that every time he gets away with something, he becomes bolder and crazier.
So the next thing he does, whenever he nukes France or something, then
Or just
we'll see if he
literally
gets removed.
shoots Mitch McConnell in the middle of Fifth Avenue.
Oh
He's
no,
just like,
I never saw that happening. How ironic. Good thing my shell protected me. I love being a turtle.
Just fucking Lindsey Graham then running over and being like, Trump didn't do anything. This is ridiculous to say that he's not allowed to shoot Mitch McConnell the turtle on Fifth Avenue. This is just, have you been through hell, boy? Because you've been through hell. Like, just, fucking his whole weird gay, revivalist pastor bullshit that he likes to do.
Yep. So speaking of gay revivalist pastures, Pete, hit him with the socials.
You can find us online at Banana.
People, folks,
Go to our
listen
website,
bigly.
www.banana.banana.
Okay, so you can contact us at Those Muckrakers on Twitter. You can write us your own Dear Wesleys at thosemuckrakers@gmail.com. You can find us on YouTube's SoundCloud, at iTunes. Go on to iTunes. Rate us.
We're on
give us
Spotify. Please
points.
give us some ratings, man. We are hard up whores for your ratings, even if it's shitty. Even if you're like, I hate these guys, they won't stop talking about bananas. Fuck them. Just please put something up there.
Please subscribe and put those bananas up there. And also buy our book on Amazon. Go look for Dusk Belt Book 1, Give Me Back My Life. And pretty soon you can look for Dusk Belt Book 2, because Pete's going to get right on that second draft, aren't you, Pete?
Also, keep your eyes open. We're talking about merchandising. So I'm thinking we're going to make a blood pipe, the pipe that spews blood shirt, and maybe a Dear Wesley shirt with Wesley's face on it. And all the proceeds will be used to make Wesley's life worse.
All the proceeds will be used to redirect to blood pipe into Wesley's living room.
Oh, God damn it. Goddamn blood pipe.
So, I don't know. Parents, hug your children because Trump's coming for them for his baby cages, and keep your powder dry.